Hi guys, this is a tutorial about finding the tone of a poem. Before we start, it's important to know that poetry is meant to be interpreted. Usually when an author creates a poem, they're not speaking literally, and more than likely they're speaking figurative. That means it's really important that we pay attention to the words and the language. If we do that, not only will it help us find the meaning of a poem, but we'll be able to determine the tone and even the mood. Just to review, the mood is the feeling that the text creates in the reader. This kind of reminds me of those cool emojis that we use. Moods can be positive or negative. Things like hopeful, cheerful, and joyous. You can read something to make you feel that way. However, you can also read things that might make you feel tense, heartbroken, or even painful. On the other hand, while mood is the feeling that the text creates in the reader, tone is the writer's attitude toward the subject or even their audience. The key is look for clues in the language the writer uses to identify how they might be feeling about the subject. Before we begin, here are some cool tone words. There are hundreds more, but this is just a few. So, just a reminder, tone has to do with the author's attitude or mindset, while mood has to do with the heart of the reader, the feelings. So, let's practice using Sonnet 138, one that we're all too familiar with. You can take a minute to reread the information here. Now, just to help out, this is the, how can I say, watered down translated version. When my girlfriend says she's telling the truth, I believe her although I know she's lying. That she thinks I'm young and dumb and don't know about the world. I am conceited to think that she thinks I'm young because I know that she knows I'm old. But I give credit to her lies by believing it. And both of us are ignoring the truth. Why don't she just tell the truth? Why don't I just admit I'm old? Probably because love is supposed to be trustful. And I don't like for my age to be told. So we both lie to each other and end up liking each other despite our character flaws. So, understanding the text, I guess in summary, the text is about a guy who apparently is older, who's dealing with a girl who may be younger. Overall, she tells him lies as if he's not old and wise enough to know. And instead of calling her out on it, he acts like he doesn't know because it makes him feel younger. Despite the fact that love is supposed to be built on trust, they both lie to each other in order to remain in the relationship. I would say the first thing that you should do when you're trying to figure out the tone is to identify key words or phrases that the author might have placed in there on purpose to let you know how they're feeling. So, this line, I do believe her, though I know she lies. Untutored youth, unlearned, truth suppressed. Therefore, I lie with her and she with me. These are all really key things that for me stood out in this sonnet. And it makes me believe that, yeah, this person felt disregarded. Now, it's really important for you to understand what the actual word means. So, just so you know, disregarded means to pay no attention to or ignore something. Now, looking at our prompt is to write an analysis or just your understanding of how an author uses language to establish a particular tone. Use evidence from the text to support your answer. So, just to simplify this, and I really like if you'd annotate this, but for the most part, they're asking us to look at this poem and figure out what words is Shakespeare using in order to establish the tone. Just a reminder, open-ended questions require for you to answer in your own words, and your success depends on a few elements. So, what does your score depend on? Well, two major things. The first thing is how well you understand what you read. That's why it's really important for you to be able to translate and annotate it. Secondly, how well you can express your answer in writing. While a lot of us might be able to understand it, to be able to express it in enough detail so that the person reading our response can understand as well is also key. So, responding to open-ended questions. We've gone over this before, but SLAM rules are really, really important. These are 5 simple rules to remember in order to write a good open-ended response. First off, you have sentences. This just means to make sure you write incomplete sentences. Open-ended are not like one-word responses, so it's really important that you pay attention to that. In addition to that, L stands for lines. That means you should kind of look at how many lines it's giving to you because that means that the person that's grading is probably going to expect just as much of your writing. So, just for instance, if you have a full sheet of paper, I'd say at least 65 to 70% of that page should be filled up with your information. The next thing is the answer. You might think that this is probably one of those dumb moments. However, it's really crucial that you pay attention and get the right answer and add your answer to your open response. M stands for mechanics. This is punctuation, the spelling, the capitalization. That's extremely important because bad spelling and other errors can change the meaning of your response. Finally, is support. Not that the person won't believe you, but it always comes off better if you have support to go with it. So it's really important for you to go back to the text and pull out information that supports whatever your answer was. So just to review, you R, restate, A, answer, C, cite, and E, explain. And I say review because we've gone over race several times, so you guys should be professionals at it. So let's go to the races. R, you're going to restate the question. Make sure you actually have this as your topic sentence. A, answer all parts of the questions being asked. Make sure you understand it so your focus won't go off topic. C is for citing textual evidence. That means you're giving support from the text and you must use quotation marks. And finally, E, explain your answer. This means explaining to your own world, connecting back to your answer. So here's some, I guess, some type of answer that you could use for this sonnet. So if you look at the R, we restated the question. However, we added in some information. We added the title, Sonnet 138, as well as Shakespeare's name, just so we can have clarity on what it is that we're referring to. So in Shakespeare's Sonnet 138, he uses language to establish the tone of. So even if this person didn't know the question, they should be able to determine the question based off of your restating in your response. A for answer. We give an answer. So what is the tone? Discarded. And it really would be cool if you even added your own definition of discarded. Next is C for cite. Be sure to cite textual evidence. In the text, it says, quote, my love swears that she's made of truth. I do believe her, though I know she lies, end quote. It is really important to put those quotations around it, mainly because it highlights to the person that you actually got proof from the text. Now, for most of you guys, this is usually enough. However, it's really not. Your final part of your response should be the explanation. This is kind of where you give some background information slightly about the total passage or poem that you read. So this statement starts off the sonnet explanation of a relationship between an older man and his woman. He notes how she continuously lies to him as if he's naive and uses words like untutored or unlearned to describe how she treats him. Nevertheless, he disregards her lies because he feels that it makes him appear younger than he is. And since love is built off of trust, they both lie to one another or suppress the truth in order to be together. Now, if you look here, I highlighted a few things that were in quotation marks, even in the explanation. It's always important to pull whatever you can from the text to help support whatever you're trying to explain. In addition, if you look, we underlined disregard only because it ties us right back to my answer of the tone being disregarded. Now, put it all together. What you'll do simply is take all 4 components and put them together. It should be in one nice, cool paragraph that 1 restates, 2 gives an answer, 3 cites textual evidence, and 4 explains enough so that even if I did not read this poem, I get a general understanding of what it is speaking of, as well as how it connects to your answer. Final review. Make sure you go to the races. Restate, answer, cite, and explain. Hope this was helpful to you guys. Thanks.